Welcome to Coffee and Cannabis. I'm your host, Eliza, and this is...
Corey, what's up?
And we are back in NECANN 2024. Second time in a row. You already know, we doing it big. And we have incredible guests that we're bringing you this year. Of course, I had to kick this off with one of my really good friends in cannabis, a female grower, emphasis, a cultivator, a woman, killing it, LGBTQ, black, veteran, female, beautiful, shaman, yogi, high prophecy, my dog from the D.
Okay.
Sahir, Assalam.
Okay.
Peace.
I feel like I needed to run out today. You know?
Listen, I announced the champions, okay?
Okay.
Come on, that's
Come
how
out
we
like the
do.
ultimate
What
warrior.
up, though, from the D? Thank you for having me on this nice couch.
You already,
There we go.
you're ready. We got the lounge, you know? It's the toss vibe. We're bringing the lounge energy early. We're about to get into this interview, but before we get started, you already know how we do, coffee. And it's excellent convention coffee.
Yeah,
But
big convention coffee.
for flour, Corey, we got something special, right?
Well, listen, I talked to Brendan earlier, and he told me I wasn't allowed to smoke here, and I was like, fuck you, Brendan. So I was like, I got my shit from the bell ringers. But, you know, after when I get out and be smoking that high prophecy, you know what I mean? Know your power. You know, I don't know how she got it here.
It magically, really
conception.
appeared, but that's the shamanism in me, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you could just transform the energy, make it happen here, you know?
And boom.
Boom.
What I
Here we
needed
are.
Brought
arrived.
me a little something.
You know?
Listen.
Hey.
What we got? What we got in that? What we pulling on in that?
The bell ringers, just a little something.
Oh, that's
A
that
little
bell
something.
ringers? Oh, I heard
Yeah,
a little
my homie
something.
Joe from the episode that we can't show.
Right.
Yeah. He took care of me.
Shout
It's a
out
little something.
to Joe. Shout out to Canna Cribs.
It's a little live rosin, that's all. It's a little live rosin.
Okay. This is my type of show over here, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That bell ring and do a little zing.
Yeah.
Lounge
Woo!
vibes.
All right. So listen. Thank you. Thank you for making the trip.
Man, listen.
Seriously.
When I say I would do a lot of things for you, okay? Like we don't have many of us that are doing what we're doing. So the support, anything that's mine is yours, because we need each other in this industry, in this life.
Facts.
Right? And you have been a true dear friend, and it would make no sense for me not to make it happen. I mean,
appreciate
seriously.
you so much. I appreciate
I mean,
you.
and
That's how we
also
pour into each other.
congratulations.
Thank you, baby. Thank
You know, I got to pop out all year for you.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show them.
Yeah.
But listen, I really want people to learn about your journey, because it's just so incredible. You're so resilient. You just keep moving, keep pushing, keep building. I want to get into your life before cannabis and what brought you into it in a business capacity. Because I know we're smokers, that's one thing, but what brought it in a business capacity that you said, I want to get licensed, I want to start a brand? Just give us a little bit of that journey.
Well, quick long story, right? Quick long. I was a dialysis tech for 8 years, so I was in the medical field. I did nursing school for a year, and in nursing school, I dropped out, and I was like, this is gonna lock me into time that I'm not willing to commit, right? And when I was in dialysis, I was learning about organ failure, all of this BS. Like they giving all these medications, right? And I was already into cannabis, alternative medicine, right? And I met a grower from Cali, and he taught me how to grow in a 10 by 10 space in my basement, right? As a caregiver, and it's been up ever since, right? After spending so long just being a grower, right? Learning the craft, getting better at the craft, just being inventive, it really became a top tier passion, not just for business, but healing. I spent a lot of time by myself in the basement. I'm a person that I come up with my best shit when I'm by myself.
Right.
And it just made me just want more, right? I didn't want to stay in the basement. I wanted to take this into a complete business. And from that basement, I always wanted my own brand. I didn't know it would be called High Prophecy. I didn't know I would have to go through 2 licenses to get to High Prophecy, right? But I wanted my brand from the basement, a 10 by 10 space.
Woo! Out the mud. Out
Yeah,
the mud.
It's an honor, for real.
Literally started from the bottom, and now we're here. Tell me about High Prophecy.
Man, High Prophecy, that's my baby, right? High Prophecy is something that I created after really experiencing the industry, right? Being in it, seeing the trash business deals, seeing everybody being taken advantage of, especially our people, right? And I wanted to be the woman that actually came into the industry, not just about the business and the flower, but healing, really integrating healing in a serious way into the cannabis community, right? And then just working on myself, right? I've become a yoga instructor. You know, I'm still a shaman in training, but really learning more ways to where I can be better, where I can show up more, right? To share, teach, or be more resourceful to the community, because we're not gonna be able to get money together if we don't heal. We're not gonna be able to run a successful business if we don't heal, right? So everything just starts at healing for me, because anytime we have a problem, we can't really get to the solution because nobody's healed enough, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
To sit down and have the conversations, be fair, have enough integrity, right? All of this shit that trauma just is just sitting, floating around. I just want to get past it. Let's forgive each other and move on and just get money, right?
Yep.
Facts.
That is very refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
And you know, I often champion that narrative. But right now we're in the business part of it, right? And we're in a really turbulent landscape with cannabis. However, it's really abundant in opportunity, which you said you were in it, and you really birthed this out of being in the environment, in the landscape, and seeing the areas that you know, were not a fan of. What are the greatest challenges that you're facing right now when it's coming to scaling your business?
It's so many right now, just in Michigan. Like, Michigan is really getting money. I mean, we are
It's a lot of money in Michigan. It's a lot of money in Michigan.
It's a lot of money
weed
in Michigan, right? But if you look at whose pockets it's in, it's not ours, right? And when there's no money flowing through our communities in that type of way, it lacks resources. It trickles down into all type of things that is going to affect the business owners, especially the small business owners, right? Finances. You get what I'm saying? Partnerships. Partnerships are really hard to maintain because of the lack of healing.
Right. Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, you know, we can be on contract, we can get all these things done, we can get the investors, but there's still going to be a problem somewhere along the lines, and, you know, it's disheartening sometimes. And this is why the brand is so big for me, because the brand didn't have to go through all the licensing and the BS, right? We just got straight to what it is that I wanted to see vision-wise for the community and share with the community. But partnerships.
So that's one of the greatest challenges.
Yeah.
Now, as you look to build your brand and go into other states, what are some of the challenges you're facing on that front?
So now, just understanding the business from being in Detroit, right? I have to have partnerships. As small businesses, we can't survive without partnerships, right?
100%.
So I'm studying how to approach better partnerships, right? How to be more resourceful, how to call friends like, hey, do you know this person there? Have you dealt with this person? What's your read on that person is so important right now, you know? Because we don't have space to be in trash deals. You get what I'm saying? So making sure that I can get in good partnerships that are really going to reflect me and the brand, right? Healing is really big. I can't go into a big corporation that don't care about people. That's not going to work for my brand, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. You know, I echo these things all the time. It's just really refreshing. And I think that's a lot of why we have gotten so close. And there's not a lot of relationships that are that way. You and I have been really in community and sisterhood for a while now. And I think, you know, our spiritual element is really what keeps us connected at a different level. Can you speak to the mission of High Prophecy and what you really hope that it does as it becomes a bigger brand and really starts making money, right? Like, it's a brand that has a mission behind it, but it's still business. And it's still about dollars and cents, and we want to have some type of impact, whether that's in our own lives and the progression of it, or whatever else we can do for our communities.
Yep. Well, you know, as a small brand, I do small batch orders, right? I keep my brand really intimate. I want to have the freshest, smallest batch that we can sell out and drop as often as we can. And that's what I focus on, small batch drops. I do exclusive drops. You get what I'm saying, with certain dispensaries, with the dispensaries that I really have a good relationship with in our ecosystem. We try and circulate our money the right way and just focus on the small batch drops. I'm really quality driven. You get what I'm saying? Being a grower, I'm never dropping trash, ever. You know. You guys will get to sample some of the greatness, but coming from being a grower, I just would never drop trash. You get what I'm saying? So having a quality product is so important, and being able to scale in states like New Jersey, right, to where we can drop more products, right? Because New Jersey has a different vibe. You guys like extracts and all those great things with the flower, right? Michigan just want to tear up the flower sometimes. You get what I'm saying? And to grow the brand, you might have to get into different states to where you can just explore other products. And I do want to explore other products in other states.
Corey, I was going to say, what would you add about, the expansion of that? And because you've seen grows from state to state, and you really know a lot about that.
I think the small batch order part of it is important because, and you've heard me say there's no money in cultivation. There's no money in cultivation if you're spending a lot of money on overhead, right? Like, that's why you see, even we've seen in Jersey in the past 8 months, it's like 500,000 square foot plus grows pop up because you just need that quantity of scale to cover the overhead. Different when you're an independent grower, you can control it, you set your price, you're gonna sell out, so you're not having this overhead that's killing it, right? It's like, the part that people don't get is in 20 years, cannabis is going to be like tomatoes. It's going to be worth like less than $1 a gram because you need the quantity of scale, right? It's like vegetables are. I think the big part is recycling the money back into the community, representing something, because we all know that black dollars get recycled into their own community, the least of any group in the country, right? So being able to do a small batch, controlling who you're selling it to, knowing who has the product, knowing that it's still there and that money is recycling within the same community. I think that's the big part of it.
Yeah.
And then, with the scaling, saying you are your brand, right? It embodies who you are, what you do. And that makes it, it's just an asset-light brand. You don't have to have a brick and mortar, do all this different stuff. You can bring it wherever you want.
Yeah.
With those right partnerships from a growing standpoint and all that. Yeah, so that was very dope.
Yeah.
The quality is important, and that comes from somebody starting in the basement, right? Can you give some insight into your transition from legacy to legal? Like, what have been, some of your greatest challenges or at least takeaways that you would share for others seeking to make that transition?
Spend the money on the paperwork.
Yep.
And that's what I did. I spent my money on the paperwork.
Stay protected.
I made sure to invest in myself, invest in my lawyers.
Yep.
Make sure that I knew what it would cost me to get legal, right? And I didn't have it all at first, but that didn't stop me. I knew I would have it eventually, so I just started spending where I could to make myself legal and protect myself. Because, I don't want no trouble. Right, I want to be able to get through the process as smooth as possible. So I made sure I got lawyers and the right type of support from the city, right? And I built a relationship with the city. So the city knows me. Like, I am one of 2 black women brands in Detroit. The city knows me by name and number. You get what I'm saying? So making sure that you have good relationships with the right people in the city. You get what I'm saying? So they'll bring your name up in those dispensary openings, and I've gotten dispensary contracts because of the city.
That's dope.
Yep.
You get what I'm
dope.
saying? Yeah. So just making sure you're building a relationship with the right people, because it's not always about the money. Sometimes the relationships can get you there.
Yep.
And the relationships have definitely carried me way further than the money has, but making sure that I can at least say I was this on paper got me through the door.
Right.
You get what I'm, just the basics.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. We have that, that's been our experience in the city I'm from, Jersey City, and it really is all about the relationships. They're saying your name or your brand in a room because that's reflective of who's from their city, and it's somebody that they're proud to prop up, right? They're like, she's killing it, representing spirituality, but also being in the military, also having this background. This is someone that is credible.
Yeah.
Right? And we want to show that this city produces credible people that create incredible brands, right? They that makes them more popular.
Yeah.
It's all working hand in hand. I don't understand why people don't realize, like, and I know that there's sort of this contentious relationship with municipalities or wherever you're operating, but what do they say? You get more bees with honey. And, yeah, that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you build the relationships, really the relationship got better over the years with the city. It didn't start out like that,
Of
right?
course.
We had to intentionally sit down and have meetings with city council and educate different zoning boards, different people from the different departments. We had to sit down and have a lot of intimate conversations of educating them on how this was affecting us, what that was going to look like, right? The level of just time and dedication we have put into our businesses. I mean, a lot of those meetings got emotional, right? And they needed to be, because the city needed to understand where we were coming from.
Right.
And you have to sit down and be able to continuously have those conversations and get through those conversations.
Right.
Because everything has to be solution based, so they understand.
Yeah.
How can we help you?
Yeah.
It's not just a complaint. How do we get to the goal? And eventually we're getting closer and closer to the goal with the city, and they're being more and more supportive. They're giving us more and more programs. We're having more meetings with the CRA, right, which is the Cannabis Regulatory Agency, right?
Okay.
How do we work with you guys, right, to even change some things that don't work for everybody, right? Finding out the procedure to get it done, right? But first having the conversation and being able to have the conversation. That's the biggest part sometimes.
I think a good part, like you're pointing out, is also doing good business with people, right? Doing clean, like fair business and having those conversations, because there's nothing worse than when someone feel like you've been a bad business partner, right?
Yeah.
It's like no, we got the paperwork, we got the contract, I did my part, you did your part, and now we can all walk away and be like, that was good, like, and now we can go do it again, or do the next thing, or the next, your entrepreneur, the next business, or or growing this business and new ideas and more things, because you've done clean business, right?
Yeah.
And it's like nobody, effed anybody over, everybody feel good about it, and now we can move on and continue to do that.
Man, the goal is just to build a good-ass ecosystem.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
In every state, and also build an ecosystem throughout the states that we can all work together.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? It only makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a couple of takeaways. The first one is the ecosystem. 1,000%, right? Because just on a dispensary level, you're a brand that goes into a dispensary. If I'm a dispensary and I don't have a dispensary house brand, I need you because I need a product to sell. Now, that's a part of the ecosystem. This facility needs to exist somewhere. It's in a municipality. These municipalities have standards of what they're looking for the operators that they want to allow in their city.
Yeah.
Maybe they're a city that is like a Detroit or like a Jersey City that has been largely harmed by the war on drugs, that they feel like there is more restitution that needs to happen there. Maybe they'll have a different approach.
Yeah.
Maybe they're smaller cities that they didn't really have those kind of problems, or maybe they don't have a huge minority population, or maybe, whatever the thing is, but they need some money. They got some money problems, and they know that this is a solution from a tax revenue perspective, and it could solve some issues. So it's a means to an end. It solves problems the same way that we try to raise people's property taxes to solve problems. Cannabis, this is how Uncle Sam is getting his piece. Fine. But the cities want to uplift the people that are the operators that they want. And that's the whole cycle. Like, they don't want to then get all this money from, and I'm not even going to say MSOs, because there's bad boutique operators.
Yep.
Just don't bang with it. Now they're like, I don't even want this money, because it becomes a whole nasty cycle that it doesn't have to be. And then the tax revenue that they're getting, now they can use that to improve their cities' infrastructure, but then also they can give to programs, they can give to rehab programs, education. It is literally an ecosystem. I don't understand how people don't realize that.
Yes. And I'm glad you said, like, giving back, right? And where the city gives back to as far as resources, right? I'm now starting, like, a piece of High Prophecy, the High Prophecy Foundation, right? And this is something that I'm not seeing a lot of cannabis brands do, but that's okay, right? Because for me, bigger than the money, this is how serious I want people to know I am about healing.
Right.
I'm taking it out my own pocket.
Right. Different.
A percentage of everything that I sell will be going to the High Prophecy Foundation.
Yes.
And the High Prophecy Foundation will be geared for gifted children.
Beautiful. And
gifted children looks like depressed children that we might identify as bad children, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No. We're just going to sit.
ADHD.
Right.
All these problems
all
we
those
supposedly have.
Right? Because for me, when I think about the future, the children are our future.
They are.
And I'm active right now. So when I give back, I have to give back to the future.
Yep.
Right? I want to invest in the kids.
Yep.
I want to make sure that the people that's taking care of us are going to be okay mentally and spiritually.
Yep.
So that's the next level, like for High Prophecy, and really completing that ecosystem, connecting to the health resources, right, and pouring back into the children, even if it got to come through cannabis.
Yes, and that is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know,
alcohol money go a lot of places.
Yay.
Well, I always got to get to the business part. Y'all not peeping something. Listen, if you got an LLC and it's bringing in money, also get a 501c3. Dump them tax money off. You gotta get rid of that shit.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause that's good business. And I'm glad you said that, because most people don't talk about that, of like, gotta have two businesses, not one. You have the one that generates income and the one that moves income for tax purposes. And especially with things like 280E and other tax things, probably sure to change soon. With the rescheduling of the federal government.
Let's drink to that.
Yeah. Hey.
Let's drink to that.
Listen, I'm smoking too. But, understanding that how you move money, how you using a foundation, like, you can do good and also do good business.
Yes.
And then also understand how to protect yourself, insulate yourself, to have the social equity part. Like, cannabis is different. It's one of the few industries where it's an industry with a culture. Now, it's big business, multi-billion-dollar.
Yeah.
Like, the NECANN sign behind us right there says, presented by Air Wellness, Ascend, and Ascend, right? Mm-hmm. The three companies underneath it are Mud Brothers, Tossed, and MCA. Where do you see another place where you have billion-dollar companies and independents on the same damn banner?
Yep.
At a big convention and stuff like that? That's a cultural thing. It's
a very
an industry
good point.
with a culture.
Yep.
That's a very good point.
You don't see. It's weird because my eyesight. And I'm like, Ascend, Air, us, Mud Brothers, and then there's a bunch of other, and there's other MSOs underneath us,
right?
Which is hilarious. But so, like, it just shows like there's a culture, there's a business part of it that we actually all have to work together. It's an ecosystem, and it just reflects that, like, when you say working with the city and kind of put some of those solutions that your city needs on your back, but through cannabis, but also understanding there's a business side to it too, of having your nonprofit side, your LLC side, and be able to move that and do it clean, and no one can say nothing about it.
Yeah.
And you working with and for and helping the city itself, putting it on you. So no, it's a different move. Yeah. So more people need to copy that shit.
Yeah.
And we always shout out our people, because that is a part of community and what we should be doing, saying our friends' names in the room. And you're right, there are not a lot of brands that are doing that, but I will say that these guys right over here, the Mud Brothers, that was their play from the beginning. And
really?
we call business plays, but people know when there is integrity and passion and realness behind it, and when it's literally a business move, a tax move, right? Yeah. It could be both, but people gonna feel what the real is, right? They started MCA, which is a 501(c). They give a percentage of the Mud Brothers revenue. And remember, this is pushed through an MSO, so this cycle makes the ecosystem even more grand of how you can use those corporations in a strategic way that they also need you to, because they have to report to the state their impact report, what their CSR is doing, who they're putting on, how they're helping the equity in this industry. So they get to do that by saying, well, we brought this brand on, and now some of the revenue goes to their institution, and this institution is a post-secondary or workforce development program that is Minority Cannabis Academy. It is intended to support the pathway of minorities. Like,
I love it.
It's brilliant. it's necessary, it's business savvy, but it's also community oriented.
It's community. At the end of the day, if you are a business and you are not helping your community, you are not a good business to me.
For real.
Agreed. Those are the people that are going in your business. That's how they repay you, by shopping in your store.
Yeah. And that's just good energy reciprocation in the universe for me, right?
Course.
You give me something in universe, I'm going to pour it back.
That's big level combo. They're not there.
Okay. I'll bring it down. Okay.
Yeah. Just do good, get high, and be well. All else, the universe will next podcast.
You know.
The universe provides.
The conversation will elevate.
Listen, I am so happy that you made the time. This is a treat. I hope all of you are appreciative. Please follow her, look her up, take the game, use the blueprint. Like, that's one thing that I think we both do, is we try to make sure that we put the information out there and talk to our community. That's my last question I want to give you. Like, what advice would you give that, there's not a lot of people that look like us in the industry. Say something to them. This is disheartening.
Stay away from the gatekeepers and do not be a gatekeeper, right? I would not be sitting here in the lounge if gatekeepers were in the way. And I am very much so grateful that we can share, right, the extensive resources that we have, right? And it builds into family, friendships, more business, and bigger things. The relationships that you build will carry you a long way, and do not ruin those relationships. I really take pride in how I honor my friendships, in the relationships, in the business that I do. You get what I'm saying? Like, that means the world to me. So, honor the relationships, you feel me? And stay away from the gatekeepers. And if you can be of service to another woman especially, be of service. The universe will shine brighter on you.
Listen, I also want to say, because obviously we're in Jersey, we both Jersey, and shout out to Detroit.
Yeah.
I went to Detroit for the NFL
I was about
draft.
to say, let's talk about that draft. What did you see?
And I'm like, I think I really like Detroit now.
Hey, listen.
And from the East Coast, sometimes we don't think about the Midwest. We just like, okay, whatever. But I was like, I've been missing out on Detroit.
It's
Detroit was lit.
Big vibe.
Listen, I had them at all the spots, man. It's a vibe.
Listen, I can't name some of the spots I was at in Detroit.
Listen,
I was out.
Come back.
I was out.
Come back.
I was out there for 4 days. I was like, I need to go home.
Yeah.
It's too lit out here.
Yeah, it'll have you in a little chokehold and won't want to stay.
I was like, this is
and
nice.
I mean, it's not expensive to stay in Detroit at all. And it's a total vibe.
Yeah, y'all had the hotels and the casinos right there in the downtown.
It's too easy.
I found myself, I ended up going to a Tigers game. Then I was on the rooftop, tin roof across, looking at the Tigers game I was just in. I was like, where am I at? I was like, this is
welcome
popular.
to Detroit.
Yeah, we was out. We was lit. It was lit.
What life am I living?
I was waking up, looking out the window at Canada across the lake. I'm like,
hello?
I'm like, it's different out here. I like it. I'm gonna be back in Detroit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I absolutely love Michigan. I've spent some time outside of also Detroit, like Lansing and the universities up there. Michigan is an incredible place.
Yeah.
Y'all got fire weed.
Yeah.
And cheap.
Okay.
Jalen was tight. He was so mad he couldn't come on that trip. He was like, where'd you get all this weed? And it's so cheap.
Listen, and it's good
and
though.
It's good.
Yeah, y'all got fire out there.
Like
it's
good cheap weed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Amazing.
And you are going to do incredible. You're going to continue to do incredible.
Thank you.
Of course. Please, High Prophecy, Google it, follow it, purchase it, demand it in your dispensaries. Check out my homie. Corey, what you got, babe?
No, it's peace and love.
That's it. Peace and love. We out here at NECANN. Shout out to all of y'all. Thank y'all for always supporting us, and we out.
Man, listen. Thank y'all.
Peace.